Hi, I'm Shane.
I'm Kelsey,
And
this
that's
is
Dixie.
and we're Love Hut for Life.
We've been on the road now for 33 weeks in our self-built tiny home, and we're coming to you this week from
Mac, Colorado.
Oh yeah, Mac, Colorado. We've been in Utah all week with our chosen family, boondocking through Utah.
Yeah, they're some of our favorite people in the world. It has been an awesome week full of paddleboarding, cliff jumping, and even Shane wrecking the Love Hut.
Also learned to skateboard.
Yep. I hope you guys enjoy this week. If you do, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button so that you can follow along with the rest of our awesome adventure.
When we left y'all last week, we were in the Unita-Wasatch National Forest in a parking lot that we all had unanimously agreed was the best place that we were finding that night.
We had to temporarily separate from the group to find service to upload last week's video, but it wasn't long before we were on our way back to meet them in our new awesome spot that they had found not too far from where we were the night before.
We were back around a campfire, enjoying barbecue, making music, and laughing our asses off, and watching the sun go down.
And even adding handprints to an awning that we swear we'll use one day. The next morning, we all crawled out of our houses to have some nice breakfast theater to get us started for the day.
They tried real hard to dress me up the same way, but that just wasn't going down for Shane.
After recovering from laughing so hard, it was time for us all to find a new camping spot that we would call home. While Dixie was perfectly content hanging out with her buddy Travis, a group of us decided that we were going to take a hike and explore our new surroundings. This was the first time that I was actually healthy enough to go on one of these hikes with them, and I was quite proud of myself by the time we reached the summit. What better way to rehab than a barefoot hike through dirt roads and over cattle grades?
Kelsey was super pumped to show off her skills to Billy because Billy has been doing Reiki energy healing on Kelsey's foot since the beginning of our trip and undoubtedly been a reason for her success. The next morning, I succumbed to peer pressure and Joe talked me into learning to skateboard. I'm not usually one to do things to risk breaking my limbs, but this is something I've always wanted to learn. 31's a good time to learn, right? Ollie over it!
Shane wasn't the only one who got to learn to ride a new board that day. When they got back, we went across the street to Strawberry Reservoir, where I took up paddleboarding for the first time. It wasn't long before Sedona was out there playing too.
Ling-a-ling-a-ling, 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 that's amore. Whoa!
That's when Joe threw in his hat on fishing.
That night, we all curled up around the campfire, ate some burgers, and made some music. We even got to try out Adam's new trumpet.
This guy is like the Mary Poppins of musical instruments. It's a new one every time we see him.
Next day, the party continued. Who's going fishing? Oh, sorry.
I don't know where the cap's at.
Where's the cap, bro?
Oh, somebody told me once. What is that song?
Never a boring moment with this crew.
That night around the campfire, we all decided that it was time to move on. And Suzanne and Travis had already found a pretty awesome place for us to go next.
Part of Joe's passion of skateboarding is giving out skateboards to people that really love it. I got to be one of those today.
After saying some very temporary goodbyes to our friends, it was time for us to hit the road again, this time heading towards Starvation State Park.
After driving through a few valleys, we rolled up on one of the prettiest lakes we've ever seen. Look at that water. It's so clear.
It wasn't long before Joe had all of the boys plus Suzanne piled into his van headed for the local skate park. Meanwhile, me, Jesse, Katie, and Dixie all just spent our time hanging out by the water, hoping that it would be warm enough to play in the next day.
It wasn't, but that didn't stop them.
It was a bit of a hike for me to get to the other side of the lake, so Jessie put me on the back of her paddleboard and we took the scenic route across instead. Once we all made it to this incredible spot, it was time to do some cliff jumping.
Correction, it was time for them to do some cliff jumping.
Mine was a little less graceful than Adam's, but hey, I did it.
Just a few short days, we'll be in the south where the water is 80 degrees. I'm gonna keep dry until then. This is a little too cold for me, but these guys sure as hell enjoyed it.
I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty cold in there, but it was an absolute blast, and I don't think any of us were ready to come back. I really want one of these paddle boards. Even Van likes it.
None of us wanted to say goodbye, but they were headed north and we were headed southeast.
We both chalked up the anxious feeling that we had leaving that place to the fact that we knew we were going to miss our friends. But maybe we should have listened to our gut.
The first stop we made, I ran into a tree.
That's right, Shane ripped yet another skylight in our roof. Since this wasn't the first time it happened, we knew it was repairable. We just needed to get to a Lowe's so that we could assess the damage.
It didn't look good, but it was fixable. $50 worth of supplies, and we were off to a BLM to set up our workshop.
We rolled in about 6 o'clock, so we were in a race with the sun to get things repaired, and also in a race with what looked like a major rainstorm coming our way.
Dixie didn't have very much faith in me, but I got the hole sealed up from the outside at least before dark.
It was a long night, but the next day, Shane got up there and finished the job so that we could get back on the road.
It's a little hodgepodge together, but it'll work. State 21, here we come.
Actually lived in Colorado for almost 2 years, but coming through Dinosaur, we were actually able to experience the Western Slope for the first time ever. It's so much greener over here.
No doubt the Western Slope is much more scenic, and we found our new home for today just in time to take in one last sunset to finish out our week. You know, I may have tried to make a treehouse out of the Love Hut, but even with that negative occurrence, I can't say this was a bad week. In fact, it was probably one of our best ones yet.
I would agree with that. We had an awesome week hanging out with people that we absolutely adore. Our chosen family means the world to us, and as sad as we were to say goodbye to them, we know we'll see them again soon.
We've got some serious miles to cover this week. I suggest you all tune in. We're going to be going to the Arches National Park as well as the Mesa Verde.
Those are just a few stops along the way because we have to be in Texas in 9 days.
Yep, 9.
So expect us to be moving very quickly, but to see a whole lot and be ready to share all of it with you. Thank you so much to each and every one of you who are subscribed and watching our channel. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please go ahead and do so. We appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have an awesome week. Peace out.
Bye, y'all.